Oh hey, welcome back. See this guy? Not anymore. New username, new me, am I right? Anyways, let's talk about YouTube. It's a pretty cool website. I found this video of Wario dying in a car crash the other day. It was a good day. YouTube has many different genres of videos, ranging from Wario dying to the most relevant for the topic of today's video. Hello everybody and welcome to Angry Birds Real Let's Plays. Some people love watching them, others think that commentators are incredibly overreactive and annoying. But one thing can't be debated. They're a massive deal on this website. Ever since YouTube changed its algorithm to favor watch time over clicks, Let's Plays became a giant phenomenon online, turning many gamers into celebrities and allowing them to make a living out of playing games to an audience. And their big popularity also helped, in turn, popularize some of the games they played too. Enter indie games, smaller scale projects in comparison to big budget titles, were easily the games that benefited the most from Let's Plays, as there are so many released every day and are always cheaper than AAA titles, or even free in some cases. YouTubers had a practically infinite supply of indies to play. Some of these games became gaming icons, while others still got enough popularity boost to increase their player bases, but most were only mainstream for a small time period, mainly because many people who watched the videos didn't play the games themselves. I was one of those people. Which is why today I'm trying many of these games for the first time, as I always remember them for having really unique and original ideas you couldn't see on AAA titles. So, let's get into it. These are some indie games that went viral. Hey viewer! Ever broken into a home? If not, then this game is the getaway drug you needed. The Very Organized Thief is a game where you must steal items from this house as listed on that piece of paper. The list is always randomized, and so is a placement of some of these items. Once you got everything you need, you retreat. Many items in the list are actually quite easy to steal. The difficulty of the game comes from the fact they're all across the home, forcing you to inspect every area of the house to find what you need. Speaking of items, many of your usual things a robber would want to steal, such as phones, laptops, or game consoles, but some are a bit out there. You have to be a true psychopath to steal a goddamn barbecue grill of someone's home, and really man? Are you seriously risking your liberty, your freedoms, over a blender? But the truly important item in this game has to be the office's key, as inside the office there's a password to a safe with a gold bar and sweet cash. While the house may be currently empty, it would not always be that way, as the owner of the house will arrive during your run after a certain period of time or when the alarm in the safe's been triggered. So you gotta get everything in time and head to an exit without getting caught. It makes the game hectic, and that's exactly what I like about it. Side note, however, why can't I leave before he arrives? I literally broke into his home. I don't need for him to be here. Now you can make sure you rob everything, even the piles of money casually laying around what I must assume is Bill Gates' 19th home address to get the best score possible. Or if you're like me, trash the house for no reason in particular. While I may not have stolen that much money from the owner myself, Geek Squad certainly will. Speaking of the guy, to be honest, the scariest thing about this man is the fact he stores money in the bathroom cabinet. I mean, I think it's entertaining enough to speedrun the robbing process and get the hell out of there as fast as possible. Playing with the guy inside is also fun by itself, as when he is away, there's no real threat aside from you expecting him to arrive. Now there is a threat. With the owner inside, now you need to sneak around the house to complete your list or to leave. It gives tension to what otherwise was a relatively straightforward task. But the moment he finds you, he will start chasing you around the house indefinitely. So it makes picking stuff as you run away harder, and you can also get cornered if you're not careful. Also, I'm not sure if breaking these glass bottles attracts the owner by the sound they make. I don't think they do, but it would be a cool addition to the game if they did. The game hasn't been updated in a while, but the developers have stated that they're working on it. And let me say that this is one game I truly want a full release of. The game is very replayable in its current state. I mean, it's the one I played the most out of all the games I'll talk about today, as I genuinely was having a lot of fun trying to complete the list in the lowest time possible, or even just messing around with the owner. Of course, the stuff that needs to be added, such as new places to rob, or in my opinion, having the items at home makes sense when you drop them, but again, they're working to improve the game, and these guys better be damn sure I'm waiting for a complete game. In A Good Husband, you play as that titular husband on a quest to do chores around the house to impress your lovely wife. Some of these tasks are stationary, like doing the dishes or paying the bills while the guy has a muscular spasm, or some require you to move from one area to the other. Every time you do these tasks, you get more points. More points equals more respect from your significant other. Chores like vacuuming and mowing the garden are not stationary, but they also don't require you to move in any specific direction, which is why I just vacuum the same corner for 10 seconds. I'm a gentleman. What can I say? And speaking of a wife, here she is watching TV. How are you doing, sweetheart? Alright, maybe she's just in a bad mood today, because how can I forget all the wonderful things I've done with her through the years? Not that time? Ah yes, I remember that one time. We were out in the garage 6 months ago. Okay, why did I marry this woman? Let's try talking to her again. What the hell does she mean by that? I just came home from work and did all the chores around the house. The only productive thing I've seen this woman do is metabolism. Alright, maybe she just needs some time alone. Let's go to the bedroom. 3 months ago. You know, I didn't quite catch that, so let me look at it one last time. I'm done with her. That day was the final straw. For all these years, she has stripped me away from everything I've had. My friends, my achievements, my dignity. But not anymore. And I don't know what I have to do. Someone had to do it. Nah. There are two other endings to this game. The second ending involves you leaving your wife for good. And let me just say that the music goes harder than it has any right to. And in the third ending, you do have sex. Nothing much else to say about this game. It's very much a one and done in my ass, as I have no need nor want to play it again. Let's move on. Well, hold on, as A Good Husband is actually the second game in the series, its predecessor being this, A Good Wife. It was done for something called Experimental Gameplay Project and was made in 7 days. As it is the prequel, it has the foundations of what would eventually be in A Good Husband, but it's very obviously underdeveloped. The camera's wonky, there are barely any chores to do, and the husband berates you in the funniest way possible. That being said, like the sequel, it has the same 3 endings: living, shooting, and sex. This tastes like piss. Aw, let me kiss you. Let's continue. Hey viewer, ever socialized? If not, then social interaction trainer won't change your mind regardless, but here we go anyway. In this game you play as this guy who gets himself in various situations where he has to talk to other people, but instead of having dialogue options to choose from to create conversations or anything of that caliber, the only thing you can control here is the guy's eyes. And so the only way to progress forward in this game is by pointing at various objects to spark conversations and overall not stare inappropriately at people. Also, he can do it, but I can't. Forget about wealth, this is what true inequality looks like in the 21st century. Strike up a conversation with your transport partner. Knowing the type of person this guy is, the conversation is probably gonna go as expected. While she may sound like an emergency alert system, the two of them hit it off, and our guy must impress her on the first date. What do I even do? Ah, another person who thinks that laughing at cross-eyed people is funny. Will be a good match. Now, onto the more comfortable second date. Come on, it's him. Might as well use the old trick in the book. Okay, let's just talk to him then. I'm not even gonna ask. Let's do the complete opposite of intimidation and stare at everything but him half the time. Now let's do the final chapter. Romance. I was not expecting to play 2 different games that have intercourse within the same week in a row, but here we are now. I think the biggest issue in this game is how often what you have to do is not easy to understand. Sometimes it feels not like you're figuring things out because you knew what to do, but because of trial and error. This game was originally released as a game for a game jam, and later had a version released on Steam with more chapters. I can't find a working link anymore, but looking at footage of it online, it looks like the problem actually got worse as the game went on. Which very much sucks as you actually had to pay for that version, which made the Game Guild version, though shorter, a better deal ironically. Alright, next game. Meditations of a Mobile Device is not a game where you play as a Windows phone reflecting on why, but rather as an abandoned phone who seeks to dive into deeper thoughts in its life. Instead of walking to a mirror using Google, however, it decides to go into a graveyard of books in search of these thoughts. These meditations, as they're called, are actually just jokes read using serious voice. Half of these lines are actually funny, such as these ones.
If you go parachuting, and your parachute doesn't open, and your friends are all watching you fall, I think a funny gag would be to pretend you were swimming. If trees could scream, would we be so cavalier about cutting them down? We might, if they screamed all the time, for no good reason. If you ever accidentally drop your keys into a river of molten lava, let them go, because man, they're gone.
Some are not that amusing, and it only took me like 3 separate runs to start encountering repeats, which is expected when you consider this game was also made for a game jam. The game was originally going to be expanded with more levels, however to my knowledge it never did. The concept of the game is cool, but if it ever were to become a larger game, I think it would need some work on the level design. Climbing these piles of books, while manageable, feels very awkward, and I still don't know what's the point of having all these books arranged vertically on the floor. You'd think you're supposed to jump from one book into the other, right? Yeah, no. The phone's character design is cute, however, look at this guy. Overall, it's a fun little distraction to play for 20 minutes. Let's continue.
Welcome, brother. Welcome. You see, they said I was a charlatan, but I am a miracle. What does mighty Chris Formage, leader of the Epsilon program, do with his enormous power? Look and behold in wonder.
Muddy Heights is a game where you must play as a dude who really needs to go to the toilet but can't because he's stuck on a rooftop of this building. And thus he comes up with the only logical way to relieve himself, the only correct solution of course. This game became popular because the concept is so damn stupid, and also the fact that once you do your business, everyone freaks out. It's like the city is being bombed by nuclear warfare. Everyone starts crashing their goddamn cars into one another, ramming into pedestrian roads over poop. I cannot wait to see the Hellenists explain this tomorrow. But to be fair, Muddy Heights is more than just a game where you poop into people. Damn it down to me. But there are some objectives for you to complete in this game. All of these involve aiming your poop, yes, literally, into various objects in the city, and it's actually quite satisfying to do so. Hitting these targets gets you a higher score than if you didn't, and it's very arcadey in a way. Plus, some of these targets are in very specific areas, and so sometimes it's a tiny bit harder to get them right away, which adds to that feeling of satisfaction. Aside from that, every time you get points, you get currency to upgrade your thing by consuming different foods that give it different abilities like bouncing harder or being lighter. Now, is this scientifically accurate? Until the Mythbusters come back, the world will never know. Oh, and also that pedestrians have voice lines.
Never eating Mexican food again!
I thought it was worthy of mentioning. All in all, Muddy Heights is officially better than Beyond Two Souls. As you can see, I barely scratched the surface of indie games to play as there are so many too. This is a topic I'll definitely come back at some point because I didn't even talk about some of my personal favorites. But for now, this will be it. I think I sounded a little bit too negative with many of these games, but let me tell you, I enjoyed playing every single one of them. And finally, thank you for watching. And I think as a society we should all agree, Hideo Kojima should give up.